so joyful, and being Rex is just a good human being, and he's just I love Rex.
Yes, he is.
He's a good human being. But
He's a king. Rex is a king.
James, do you have a book that has influenced you and a lesson you can share? And then Adrian, please.
Oh, I think ladies first.
Thanks, James.
You made me look bad, James. You made me look bad right there. Thank you for that.
Too funny. I love it because I'm actually in the middle of writing a book myself. And in this book, it references probably about 12 different books that have just changed my life. And I would say one common theme about them is they're all about expressing gratitude first. And so the first book that comes to mind is The Game of Life and How to Play It. And I mean, it's just a no-brainer as far as learning how to, train your mind to think about life and to win at life and to trust yourself and to have faith in God and to make space for the good things that are going to come in your life and just have faith that they're going to come when you create the room to do so. But that book really pounded in a lot of the gratitude part of life and just making sure that you practice that every day and help people around you get to that same mindset. Because if you're doing it yourself, you have to share that to get other people there and really move the needle on how to live a fulfilling and healthy life. So I'm going to go with that book. James, I'll pass you the ball.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. So, wow, I have lots of books and lots of thoughts. I don't really follow rules, so I'm going to actually offer a documentary done on a man who happened to be a mentor of mine named Mr. Clarence Avant. And
I'm sorry, say again. What's the name?
The documentary is called The Black Godfather. The man himself, his name is Clarence Avant, and he was my mentor, and he passed away about 6 or 8 months ago. But Clarence was one of a kind, and what I really appreciate about the film, Clarence's home was probably in the 60s and 70s, the place where entertainers, his best friend was Quincy Jones, God rest his soul as well. It was a place where politicians, where Black entertainers, where Jewish executives all gathered in Beverly Hills. And his life, whose life I'm pattern matching right now in business, was a life filled with bringing together bridges and connecting dots, again, that usually don't match. His family was one of the first families to live in Beverly Hills as an African-American. He represented white artists in a time when it was really difficult to represent white artists. So the film is called The Black Godfather. It's on Netflix, available. And if you want to see how a life well lived and a life diverse, and again, one whose life that I pattern match, go check out The Black Godfather on Netflix.
Wow. That is so wonderful, James. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Rex, is there a book that you really find benefit in other than your own?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll list three. The first would be Only One Sky, originally titled by Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh, otherwise known as Osho. It's a wonderful, wonderful book. And any of the Eastern or Western philosophy books are fine. Of course, the Laws of Success and Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. But one that oftentimes gets mentioned or passed over that I think is just one of the best books in the modern age was Psycho-Cybernetics, the original version by Maxwell Maltz. And so few people, go back and read the original one. Don't read not that the annotated or the commentary ones aren't valuable, but just go back and look at his original work and then some of his other books that he was writing around those times, because that was really groundbreaking for our modern age.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure.
I just want to share a book as well, Barry, if you don't mind, and that's Be Here Now by Ram Dass. This is a book that I believe everyone should read.
Okay.
I love this book.
Okay, so this is probably one of the main reasons, unbeknownst to Mo, why he and I are simpatico. This is foundational, because first of all, if nothing else, the title, it is so okay. Can I tell a quick story about Ram Dass? Okay, everybody knows. You can see if you're on the show, I'm even older than Rex. I'm the oldest person, I think, chronologically. I'm 76. Right? Rex, don't tell us your age, but I think I'm older than you, right? Okay.
I'm 60 years younger than you are.
Thank you. Okay. The point is that I've had, thank God, a very interesting, checkered, full life. And I grew up in a place called Brookline, Massachusetts, which is adjacent to Boston, Massachusetts. I grew up in something called the shadow of Fenway Park. So that's an inside baseball reference for those who like baseball. The important thing is that in Brookline, Massachusetts, which is a very fascinating place to have been from. I'm glad I did grow up there. I had an idyllic childhood and such, and surrounded by universities and all kinds of interesting people. And of course, you had Harvard, MIT, and BU, Boston College, and on and on. At that time, though, in the early 60s, there was these interesting beings called Timothy Leary and his sidekick, Richard Alpert. And Richard Alpert, James, you're going to love this. He's just a nice Jewish guy from a place called Newton, Massachusetts. Just a basic Jewish overachiever. He went to Harvard and all that sort of stuff. And they were the people who started using LSD. Okay, and it was just so cool in the beginning. And they used to hold court once in a while. Richard Alpert, before he became Ram Dass, Baba Ram Dass, et cetera, he would go and hold court in the basement of the Arlington Street Church. Now, to put it in context, the Arlington Street Church, I think, was built, if I'm not incorrect, 1723, something like that. So you're talking about a very old building. Not all of it, of course, was extant at the time, but it was a very old building, and it was a drafty basement set. I was there when I met Richard Alpert, and here I am, down here, thank God I had hair, was down here, and sitting there, and he's talking about stuff, just stuff, wild, wonderful, out there, beyond anything that I had been taught about since I was just 18, right? And it was an expression. I knew that I was in the presence of something interesting and different. And then to follow his journey, remember, for people who don't know, joy, I'm the ambassador of joy. You hear that, Adrian? Not joy, joy. Joy stands for journey of you. To watch his journey and to go from Baba Ram Dass to Ram Dass, and then Das, it was so fascinating because I smelled it, I touched it, it was there. And to see how a being can grow and to recognize that he would say this to me, Barry, you're the same as I am. And I think part of what we're sharing with everybody here is, hey, we're people. We love life. We love people. We love the ability to share. Share stands for spreading happiness and rejuvenating energy. Isn't that what you do, Adrian? Isn't that what you're about, James? That's your life, Rex, right? Spreading happiness and rejuvenating energy. When we can do that, especially at this time of the year, for every person we engage with, we meet and talk about the light and the love. Love stands for, this is pure Ram Dass, love stands for living on vibrational energy, living on the vibrational plane, because that's who we are, right? We're vibrational. And when you do this, it's a completely different kind of process than people who are in their life are used to. That's why you're here as sparks. Everybody here is a spark. You're here to start forest fires. You hear that? And I see that thing. You too can prevent forest fires. I say, you're right. In the forest, yes. However, not here. In life, you're here to start forest fires. You hear that, Adrian?
Absolutely.
Right? Is that correct, James?
I received that, absolutely.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to add on to that real quick. I think, the point of all of this too is that when you practice it so much, you just get into this cycle of flow of greatness, and it becomes really addictive and contagious in the best way. And that's what we want to happen, right? So I see that with
Adrian, you're an addict.
I am totally.
Yeah, right. I'm
But
mainlining, baby. I'm mainlining.
it is. And that's the thing. Like I see how impressionable my children are. And so when I get them into this realm early, I don't want to have to teach this later. Like I want to teach this now and it just compound in their lives naturally. So they're getting addicted to it too and helping others and just feeling what it's like to give or to, just help somebody else. They're getting addicted to that feeling in a better way.
Well,
right?
James touched on it earlier. I'd like you to actually do a little riff on it, if you would, James. And the essence of life is giving and service. And I think that's what you do when you talk about community building. It's the creating of that flow. Actually, can I tell a quick story for 2 minutes? Okay. So if I ask you, Adrian, since you brought it up, how do you pronounce the word LOW?
LOW, low.
How do you pronounce the word FLOW?
FLOW, flow.
How do you pronounce the word FLOWER?
Flower.
Why? When I work with people in groups, I talk about, you see those things out there in the garden? Those are flowers. You know why? Because when you see a plant like a sunflower, I love sunflowers. To me, that's the essence, right? Big, radiant, and the pebbles, and the petals, and you can eat the seeds. And I said, everything in there, it's alive. It's flowing. It's the same as you. If you take a stethoscope, you listen to your heart, you listen to the blood moving, going, shh, 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 shh. You're flowing. That's a flower, not a flower. You hear it? You love it?
Love it. I love it.
That's who we are. We're flowers.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get into the shower, either later tonight or tomorrow, and you have the water flowing over you, think, wow, Barry, you're crazy. I love it. I'm flowing.
Love it.
That's how we start the forest fires, how we keep it going. So James, give us an example of what it means to create a dinner where you're allowing people to come in and do something that they hadn't done before.
Well, it's interesting because I just want to build on something Adrian said about contagious. I think one of the things that I try to exemplify in either dinners or even my WhatsApp groups, which are dinners of asynchronous dinners of sorts, is this idea of practicing generosity, practicing just giving away ideas, giving away information, giving away connections. I live in abundance. So, my network is my net worth. And by far, I give it away because I know it comes back to me. So when I host dinners, it's really, or I gather people in my WhatsApp groups, it's really about, people are always looking for what's it cost or what's the thing? And I'm like, you know what it costs? It costs your generosity and it costs you showing up and being open to meeting someone that's different or meeting someone that doesn't look like you or meeting someone from a different faith. And, so for me, as I practice that, the contagious spirit is really that someone else starts their own dinner, starts their own WhatsApp group and begins to exemplify. I think we live in a world where people are so guarded and so protective over their relationships. I've never lived that way. I don't live that way. And if I have something to offer, if I can make a connection as a connector back to the spirit of Mr. Clarence Avant, I want to do that. He often made connections, whether it was, Snoop Dogg and Bill Clinton or, this person and that person. I used to sit in his office and listen to the world leaders that would call his office or the rappers that would call his office or the leaders of the city leaders that would call his office. And he never once asked for a contract or an agreement. So I love that I run in a world where that doesn't operate on contracts and agreement. Your word is bond. Your word is everything. And so I try to practice that in the work that I do and also the gatherings, dinners, experiences that I offer.
Wow.
I would urge everybody to understand that James left out one word. He said he tries to practice. He does practice.
He does.
Fair point. Fair point.
You're not trying anymore. You're doing it.
Fair point.
And that is the genius. That is what we're doing here with this holiday special. We're urging everybody, open up. Open up. All that can happen is good.
Yeah.
Nothing untoward will happen to you when you open up. Am I right, James?
Absolutely. Open up, open up, open up. Give it away, give it away, give it away.
Yeah.
Am I right, Andrew?
Absolutely. I mean, James, you're speaking from someone who tried living the other way. You said you haven't lived that way before. I've lived that way before, with that mentality of hoard information, or like, this is mine, or whatever it is. And now I came across a line, and I think it is from an OSHA line too, that, love is about appreciation, not ownership. And so when you just learn to appreciate those things and share them more and see that everyone else can enjoy it, and that doesn't take away from you in any way, adds to you, in fact, then you just begin to transfer into that abundance mentality. And now I've fully converted. I'm fully on the abundance side. I'm giving everything away, and I just want to help people however I can. And that's the most fulfilling way to choose to live your life, I think.
Thank you. I'm going to hold up a card. And I want you to talk. Can you read this card, Adrian?
Yeah. Did I tell you today how much I appreciate you? So valuable.
So this is a card. Again, these are all available for free. Just go to barryshore.com and click on the Share a Smile. Interesting, because Rex, you know about this, but James, you may not know, or Adrian, the Keep Smiling movement. Are you aware of the Keep Smiling movement?
I'm not, but I'm probably part of it on accident.
Well, okay. So here's a card. What does that read?
Keep smiling.
Okay, so I'm happy to say we've given for free, more than 6 million of these cards around the world in 27 languages. Wow. And again, available for free. Just go to barryshore.com and order them. You go to the physical ones. You can send them by email. And what you just said about appreciate, telling people that you appreciate them, you just unlocked the key to every treasure in the world.
Totally.
Did I tell you today how much I appreciate you? That's what I have to do. You can either text it, you can call somebody. Imagine that. You talk to them, you do it on the Zoom. Just use those words. Did I tell you today how much I appreciate you? Yeah, well, I know, but thank you. This is really the genius of life. I want to, before you speak on something wonderful, Rex, I want to talk to people about the word peace, because as we all know, peace is a very important theme around this holiday time. It has been for thousands of years. And for thousands of years, it's been violated. However, I will make a prediction. This year will be different. There'll be more peace in the world in the coming 12 months than there has been in the past 10 years. And you know why? Not because Donald Trump's in office and he's going to do this. There's more of us. We are the forest fire lighters. You're the starter. You're the ones who make things happen. Let me tell you what peace stands for. You ready? Purposely effecting all, creating exuberance. How you like that, kids? Purposely effecting all, creating exuberance. It's what you were saying, James. Yes. It's what you were talking about, Adrian. It's what you live, Rex and Mo. This is what the Tribune is all about. When Mo and I have had the pleasure of speaking every once in a while over the past number of months, and I won't say specifically what it was, but he mentioned to me something that happened after October 7th of 2023. And he came out and made a particular stance. And he found that, to his amazement, that certain people defriended him. He was amazed. Right. You had it also happen, right? We are arbiters of peace, love, joy, happiness. That's all we care about. That's what we care about. We're going to live, and there'll be challenges. Now, the good news is, guess what happens? There's going to be challenge to that. Great, because light is more powerful than darkness. You know, we all know.
Yeah, and Barry, you know, the whole thing is particularly with my advocacy and being the evangelist and the evangelist of a nonpartisan newspaper company is it's about loving and protecting everyone. It's never about demonizing or stepping on anyone. It's just about a universal truism that every human being on planet Earth deserves dignity, every single soul. And so today, for example, part of the reason I wasn't able to join you in the earlier part of the program was because I literally just came back from a organization that supports foster children, where we had a gifting presentation, as I mentioned. And I also had a chance to do some interviews there with some local press, where I spoke about the Dignity Act and the Dignity Act movement, which we've just recently launched this past week. We have a petition out. I encourage folks to go sign it. You can DM me on Instagram or Facebook, or DM one of our team members. We'll give you a link to go sign it. And it's about dignity for foster children, but it's not just about dignity for foster children, because the lesson there is a reminder for dignity for all human beings. Specifically for foster children, Barry, they're given a trash bag. This is modus operandi. When they go from one home to another, they're given a trash bag and 10 minutes to pack up their belongings. And so my personal goal for 2025 is to lobby Congress to make it illegal to give a foster child a trash bag, where we have to make sure that children are given a backpack, something with dignity. And so there's some states that have already moved toward that direction, but I'm going to be working all year next year, and it's my number one goal of the year, to make it on a federal level, not just on certain states, because the psychological ramifications that has on
Trash,
the child,
right?
when they're given a trash bag and they are to say, your few belongings that you have need to be put in this trash bag. And really it's just because the individual is responsible, and folks that operate on a local level don't have the proper oversight, so they can get away with doing a lot of things that they should not be getting away with. And this is one small thing. And it's not just about trash bags and backpacks. It's the symbol behind it. And we have to start with the symbol. The Berlin Wall fell, and the symbol of the Berlin Wall falling is what ended communism in that part of the world. And there's power in symbols. And we must start by making it illegal for foster children to be given a trash bag and 10 minutes. And so I'm encouraging everyone watching, I'm encouraging the folks here on the panel with me to join me, because I need your help. We have to lobby Congress. We have to make our voices heard. I'll use the power and influence that I have, but I need help. And so it's not monetary help. I need your voice. I need your encouragement. I need you to spread the word. So make sure that you stay in touch with me. My Instagram is, I'm going to have the producer post the Instagram, but it's Mo Rock Loves You. Okay. Add me on Instagram if you don't already have me on there, and stay in touch with me personally so we can work together to make it illegal for foster children to be given a trash bag.
Count me in. Count me in for sure, Mo. That's incredible work.
Okay, Mo, I want to mention in this same vein, we are blessed in this particular holiday special, as you know, because you were helpful and instrumental in doing this, to be working with the Salvation Army. And talk about a symbol, the shield. We had Major Lisa Barnes on in the first hour and told her story and such. The Salvation Army is the largest non-governmental social service unit in the world. They have 6,000 centers around the country. And I think there may be an intersection here that we can work together. I want to say bravo to you for recognizing, yes, the power of symbols. It's really, I'll give you a fun story. So when I work with people a lot about focusing and understanding who they are and such, and talk about doing things, I have people draw a circle on a piece of paper, big one, and I ask people to put the peace sign on there. Now, I can tell you that a lot of people under the age of 30 say right away, oh, you can put the Mercedes-Benz symbol on, because they don't know the peace sign.
So
they think it is the Mercedes-Benz sign to make it to three pieces. So it depends on your orientation. So when you do that, now you have a symbol, the peace symbol, the symbol of the trash bag or the non-trash bag, the Salvation Army, the symbol of joy, which is Barry Shore raising his arms like this and such with his wonderful shirt and such. The ability
if I can add one thing to that. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, Rex, please.
Well, I would like to say, that there's a few things. I'd like to make a few points, if I may. And that is this. One is we as a people, especially in this United States, have forgotten something very, very important. The Hippocratic Oath, which people think only applies to medicine, is to first do no harm and to second seek to heal. In other words, to seek to benefit and to do good. And what's happened in this country when we went from being an agrarian culture to a manufacturing industrial culture, we then made chasing the dollar and having 2 television sets and cars, the almighty God and the definition of status and power and prestige and happiness, when in fact there are people with absolutely nothing around the world who are deliriously happy and people who have lots and lots and lots of things who are deliriously unhappy. So what we need to do is first seek to uplift, to bless, to edify, and to help people, which is what Mo is talking about, what you're talking about, what James and Adriana is talking about, and of course Alicia and the guests here. Our purpose is to unite, to unify, and to uplift, not to pull down, divide, or to terrorize. Now, I want to just take an extra moment and go back a little bit to Ram Dass and Tim Leary, because in the 70s, when Tim Leary was in the Laurel Canyon area, I mean, the hills were alive with the noise made by Leary and those in the hills. But Dick Alpert, or Richard Alpert, the cool thing about him was, his pursuit was to be here now, to be present, his own guru, and he, had a dedication to consciousness, awareness, and to love. And I don't remember the year. I wish I could, and it'll come to me sometime. But he was doing a talk in Los Angeles, and he came in dressed as Richard Alpert, not as Ram Dass. The robes were gone, the beads were gone. He had the beret. He was shirt and pants, slacks. And about a third of the audience got up and walked out at that point because they didn't want to hear from Richard Alpert. They wanted to hear from Ram Dass.
Right.
And when he opened his mouth, he said this. He said, what's interesting is I was in the lobby waiting to come in to speak, and there were people in line, to see Ram Dass. And I was in that line too, and people would push me out of the way to get to see Ram Dass.
Woo! Rex.
And he said they didn't realize that they were pushing Ram Dass out of the way to see. But he said the reason I'm dressed as Richard Alpert is, he said, because I realized that I was developing an ego as Ram Dass, and that I was now living this persona of what it was like to be, a spiritual leader, as opposed to actually being a spiritual leader. So I said I need to go back to myself to clear out, to clean out. And that was the beautiful thing about him, was that he had the awareness, the presence of mind, and the egolessness to be able to do that in front of a whole audience of people who love him, and who loved him for many reasons, and some who loved him only because he wore beads and had the long hair and the beard and the robes. So, the beauty of it is to get real, to become authentic, to release all the other stuff. James is in the business he's in, and we make movies and entertainment. There's not an album that's made, there's not a movie that's made, there's not a book that's written that doesn't take collaboration and cooperation. True, there can be fighting, there can be competition, there can be all sorts of stuff, but the things that get it done are when people technically agree at some level to work together to bring something to the public. And together, we here can work together to bring what Mo is hoping to do for children, for foster children, to be realized, not just a wish, but something that's realized, where these kids have dignity, they're treated with integrity and respect, and not treated as, well, you're just a disposable kid with a disposable bag, who's got 10 minutes to get out of here. So again, I say, if we would embrace this idea of first do no harm, and if our political people would understand that, and our religious people would understand that, and our moms and dads and our brothers and sisters and our husbands and wives and our significant others would understand, let's first do no harm.
Yeah.
And then let's heal and uplift.
Thank you for that. And Rex, even if they don't understand that, or they don't care, it's not going to stop us from making the difference that we need to do.
Of course.
Because, by the way, a couple of small side notes, housekeeping notes. The link to sign this petition is here in the comments. So please, everybody, go find it. You could also Google Google it and look for it. It's a brand new petition. Doesn't have very many signatures, so I need the people watching to sign and share. And what you were discussing in terms of Ram Dass, Rex, is this phenomena called spiritual materialism. I'm sure you're familiar with Chogyam Trungpa, right? He wrote about this concept, and we see it actually quite often in the self-help world, which I do a lot of business in, and the New Age world. Spiritual materialism, where people have found and developed a new kind of materialism in the way of articulating their enlightenment. And it's almost like, a black belt thing. Like, oh, I have a black belt in karate, you have a blue belt in karate, so I'm superior to you because I have more enlightenment than you do. And this is the supreme irony. I know when somebody has not ever actually achieved enlightenment when they brag to me about how enlightened they are. And you'd be actually surprised how often this happens. So it's a trap. And I encourage the folks that are watching this, that are interested in these kinds of modalities, to study the concept of spiritual materialism. There are videos about it. There's a book about it. Because if you don't study this concept, you could find yourself getting trapped in it. And with that being said, I want to bring up to the stage NCAA champion Parisa Rose. She's
Yay, Parisa!
Parisa is a well-known public figure. She was the former icon of the Clubhouse app, downloaded by tens of millions. She's been featured all over the world as an activist for women's rights and human rights. And she set records as a NCAA championship swimmer that have still been held up after about 10, 15 years. And she's also the founder and co-founder of multiple different companies, including a company that we can't publicly discuss due to an NDA that I signed. But what I will say is that she's a very powerful force in the technology realm as well. And I think James would co-sign that statement. But Parisa, you've been listening to this conversation with Adrian, James, Barry, Rex, and myself. And I'd love to just give you the floor for you to share where you're at. And I'm going to leave here in about 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and Barry will close us out. Thank you, Barry, for letting me. I said 5 minutes, Barry. Are you in a rush for me to go? You're already waving goodbye.
I want to make sure that Parisa gets. I want to make sure Parisa gets front and center.
Thank you. But Parisa, please, the floor is yours.
You guys are hilarious. Thank you, Mo, for that wonderful introduction. And it is so good to see all of you here on screen with me right now. And hello to everyone that is listening, watching right now, or that will be watching a replay. So where am I right now with this conversation? Yes, I've been listening for the last several hours, actually. And I love that everyone here on this screen, I feel like, has really shared from a place of doing what they can with what is within reach. But doing what they can that's within reach has tremendous impact. And I think that's really something I've also learned along my journey of serving and advocating and really just paying attention to groups that are outside of my own individual, very, small group, is that to make an impact, it doesn't take anything outside of yourself to do that. It just takes you to actually believe that what you have to offer can create an impact. It can matter. It can make a difference. And if it's just a simple smile, it's not just a simple smile. A smile can really impact someone that's really struggling on any given day, because you realize, oh, I matter. Someone acknowledged me. Wow. Sometimes people just need a smile. And that's nothing you have to source outside yourself. And so I love that, as Adrian was talking about, during the Christmas season, really just allowing themselves, her and her kids, making sandwiches and cookies and going outside in their community and serving others. She's not doing anything outside of herself. It's something within her reach. But that reach is huge. It's huge. So I love, each person had such great shares with how they just genuinely offer that service from their heart, from their talents, from their ideas, from their imagination, as James continued to really dive into. And it's not challenging. It's just an act of willingness. But the willingness can save a life. Willingness can go a really long way. It can save thousands and millions of lives. So that's where I'm at with this conversation. It's been really, really, really impactful for me today in this Christmas season. So it's been great to be a spectator, an observer, a watcher, a taker of notes. And Barry, thank you for your energy and your enthusiasm and the reminder of the etymology of the word enthusiasm. So powerful. So powerful. So thank you. It's so good
Wonderful Parisa. So we have 3 questions for you, wonderful Parisa. Number 1, where are you physically, geographically? What city are you in?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. On the west side?
East side.
East side. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
are you familiar with the Keep Smiling movement yet, Parisa?
I am not. I would love for you to share.
Look at this.
Yes. Yes.
This card in 27 languages, more than 6 million have been given out around the world. By the way, you know who we have a picture on our website. Go to barryshore.com and you'll see James, one of the people holding up the card. He just passed away, unfortunately, as you know, Quincy Jones.
Oh, God rest his soul. Great
So
man.
we have, and it's kind of amazing. Now, here's a great acronym for you, wonderful Parisa. SMILE stands for Seeing Miracles in Life Every Day. Now, what was your event when you were swimming?
I was a breaststroker.
Breaststroker. Okay, can I tell you a quick swimming story?
Please do. I would love that.
Okay, so you don't know. Maybe everybody, I think Rex is the only one who knows the story, so I'll tell it again just to keep people in mind. See me moving my arms and all that kind of stuff? Yeah, Barry, great. 21 years ago, I was standing up in the morning, completely healthy and hearty. In the evening, I was in the hospital, totally paralyzed. I became a quadriplegic overnight. And it was not from an automobile accident or a spinal injury. It was a rare disease, took over my body, healthy in the morning, paralyzed in the evening, can only communicate by blinking my eyes. I was 144 days in the hospital, 2 years in a hospital bed in my own home. I was in a wheelchair for 4 years, braces on both my legs for 2 years. Today, thank God, I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand. So I'm a triped, not a biped. I can't get up out of this chair because I'm paralyzed still waist down. But here's a story for swimming, Parisa. In the course of trying to get back some upper body movement, they put me in the water. I did aquatic therapy for years. So I'll make the story very short. One day, after a few years of moving me around, so I put my arms over my head, my right arm and my left arm. I did a backstroke. I did 2 or 3 strokes, and I hit my head against the side of the pool, and it hurt. And I said, yay! Because I hadn't moved in years, right? Turned myself around, pushed off. I didn't stop for 98 minutes. 98 minutes without stopping. It's the first time I'd moved in years. I'm going to go very fast forward. Parisa, I now swim 2 miles a day, 6 days a week. I've been doing that for 14 years. And as of Friday, I have 9,861 miles under my belt. I'm a swimmer.
Wow.
Now, I wear stuff on my legs so the legs don't sink. I wear paddles so my fingers don't close. I use a snorkel. Who cares? I swim 2 miles a day, 6 days a week. As we say, motion is lotion. And I need, Parisa, you hear me? I need to have you on my podcast, as well as you, Adrienne, and you, James, called The Joy of Living. Rex, you'll attest. It's a great podcast you've been on. And we're going to rock and roll and tell people about what you do when you were swimming. I mean, NCAA, hello, that's not small stuff, kid. And I assume that you won some of the times that you were swimming, right?
A few times. A few times.
Yeah. Who did you swim for?
I swam for a few different colleges, but I started out at UC Santa Barbara. At the time, we were top 15 in the nation, which is pretty intense. I say it's pretty awesome, but it's pretty intense. It becomes your life. And then I went to University of North Texas, and following my coaching swimming career, I got to coach at Azusa Pacific University. They're a D2 NC2A D2 school, and what a joy that was, truly. When I say what a joy, to really give back what I learned, what I gained, what I gleaned, and pour that out onto the athletes.
So this is really fascinating because coaching is one of those great channels of goodness where you can give back. where you can nurture and shape and mold and help somebody really break through whatever barriers they think they have.
Mhm.
Because when it really comes down to it, it's people think they're competing against other people and they're not.
Never.
Right? You
Never.
wag your finger right away. It's the ability to understand the only one you're competing against is oneself.
Yes. I'd like to share a bit on that. You know, there's one thing that swimming taught me, and it's the story that I continue to share because I feel like it is the most impactful lesson I've experienced my entire life. And that is with swimming, naturally, I mean, most of the time your head's in the water, your face is in the water. And even if you're on your back for backstroke, your face has to be at a certain angle so that you can keep your body straight. So you don't have to go zigzagging down the line. Okay. It's your head is your steering wheel in swimming. So you have to keep it straight. That also does not allow you to have conversations. That doesn't allow you to have to have your thoughts here, there, and everywhere. With swimming, it forces you to singular focus on what is here and what is now. And with my career of swimming, I spent hundreds of hours with myself, with my thoughts. And starting swimming at 10 years old, and then going all through my college career, it allowed me to really understand what my thoughts sound like, what my voice sounds like, what thoughts I have about this and about that. And it allowed me to let my thoughts wander and imagine and just really explore. And the thing is that experience is no different than any other part of life. That's every day. Do we allow ourselves to actually hear our own thoughts? Are we comfortable with our own thoughts? Are we comfortable with ourselves? A lot of the time it's no. A lot of the time we allow the distractions and the busyness, so-called busyness of life, to flood those moments, which there are so many moments in the day, but often we convince ourselves that there are not many moments to really just hear ourselves. When you can hear yourself, you start to value yourself because you know what you sound like and you deserve to be heard. So it's not just a swimming thing, it's an actual life thing. And so I would encourage, if you haven't been swimming, anyone that's listening to this, if you haven't been swimming in a while, go swim a few laps and you'll see what that's like. And it'll help you really grasp this concept and really dive into like, oh, I'm good with me and I'm worth sharing.
Can I have one thing to that though? I've heard so many of Parisa's stories of swimming. And one thing I think that would be interesting, Parisa, is just also the capacity of breath and the ability for breath work to unlock the power in your body. And so I think with swimming, and I'm sure you can attest to this, Barry, it's also in the breath work. And that's so much of what life is about.
Oh, James, what a wonderful and important point that you make. As I said, I use a snorkel, and breathing, as we know, we are the people that love lighting fires for ourselves and others. And we know that breath is the essence of life. As Rex will tell you, that this is one of the things we loved about Ram Dass, right? Is that he was a breather and understood that breath is really what the essence of things are. So it's funny you say Parisa, because I was not a swimmer before I became paralyzed. Now I'm a swimmer, and I'm very happy for it. And I think we call ourselves blackliners. Looking down at the pool, you're looking at that black line all the time. And there's a wonderful acronym for the word self-talk, because we all know, and this show is not about Parisa, fabulous being that she is, or Alicia, or Rex, or James, or Barry. It's not about any of us. It's about you. YOU, the person listening. Yes, you, Lorna, and you, Joy Grace, and you, Doria, and et cetera, everybody watching. It's all about you becoming the best you. So the genius of the process of breathing and self-talk, of listening to who you are. Self-talk is a great acronym. It stands for recognizing that you are a soul experiencing life fully. Ready? Here comes the key. Teaching always love and kindness.
Wow.
Because the words that you hear to yourself are the most important. If Parisa ever, and she doesn't do this anymore, she may have done it one time, but not anymore. Oh, come on, you messed up in that. We don't talk like that.
Mhm.
Teaching always love and kindness.
Mhm.
As Michael Phelps used to say, I've listened to him speak many different times.
Yeah.
It wasn't about the times that he won, it was the failures and how you address them. If you get angry at yourself, you're going to continue to not to do well.
Mhm.
The ability to let go, okay, now go forward. The people who are the winners let go. The people who wallow in failure, guess what happens? They continue to fail, because fail is just another word for fall. So, Teresa, I love what you're saying about, so for me, when I'm swimming and breathing, as you mentioned, James, because it is that great capacity. I swim now 2 miles, takes me 100 minutes. So I swim 100 minutes without stopping. And it's just, it's wondrous.
I would like to add, too,
Yes, please.
that nearly everything in our known world that's alive breathes.
Yes.
Plants, animals, fish.
Flowers. Remember
birds.
those flowers?
But the important part about that is it's an exchange that's going on. There's an inhale and an exhale. The universe inhales and exhales. It respires. And so do we. And we're all connected in that regard. Now, we think that we breathe and it's continuous, but there's actually a gap where you take in the air, you stop, and then you let the air back out, and you stop, and you let. Same with the heartbeat. And what people need to understand is there's activity and then there's rest. There's eating and then there's not eating. There's worrying and then there's letting go. I mean, and the whole point of the universe is to exchange giving and receiving.
Wait a minute, Rex, isn't that what we're doing right now? We're breathing. We're breathing. We're breathing with the universe. There are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people that are experiencing this right now. And Rex Sikes, I have to give you a nice little pinch on the cheek because you're so adorable. You're a cherub. And the beauty of what this is. So I'd like to share with people, there are 3 things that when people ask me, when I do my webinars and seminars and such, can you give me, all this is really great stuff. Can you give me 3 simple, practical things that we can do right away? Something that I can right now. So I'm not going to do all 3. I'm going to do 1. I'll just say what the 3 are. 1 is called blab. The other is skip. And the 3rd one is ready for this one, Teresa and Alicia? Learn to love dog poop. Okay, we'll talk about that later. If you stay on, you'll hear. So blab is the key. This is what you just said, Rex. Blab stands for breathe like a baby. Why? So everybody, when I talk about breathing, and we all do when we do our webinars, seminars, and talk with other people, with ourselves, most people, where do they breathe? They breathe here, very shallow breathing. You breathe to be alive. That's it, right? If you do that, then you're not breathing. What we want and what we urge when we teach, especially in swimming, is we want to do deep diaphragmatic breathing. Now, there's only 2 problems with diaphragmatic breathing, James. Number 1 is people don't know where the diaphragm is. And number 2, they can't spell it. So I'd say, forget that, call it tummy breathing. Okay, fine. Babies, what do babies naturally breathe into their tummies and their diaphragm. That's what babies do. So I teach people, learn to breathe like a baby, in through the nostrils, deep into the tummy, gently let it out. And I take people, you do that 4 times, consciously and conscientiously, like wonderful Rex said in that exchange. You do that twice a day, you're a different being. Blab. I tell people, I say, I like blab. Learn to breathe like a baby. It takes somewhere between 38 and 72 seconds, depending how slowly you want to. 4 times. Do it twice a day. So blab is that's a tip for everybody that you can use immediately. You want to be happy for the rest of your life, just like blab be part of your life.
So good. That's a jingle. That's a jingle that needs a home. Definitely.
You got it, baby. Well, it comes from that very famous song that I grew up with in the 50s. If you want to be happy for the rest of your life, just make an ugly woman your wife. From my personal point of view, get an ugly girl to marry you.
We like the newer version better. Oh my gosh.
You're gonna look up the song. It's a different song, different time, different era. Okay. Well,
Oh my gosh.
the songs that we love these days, especially this season, is Handel's Messiah, Amazing Grace, YMCA. It's something that's making stuff happen. Yeah, it's really important. So I'll do one more, and then I want to ask, as the panel, one more other thing. So I want to urge people, as I told you my personal story, not to get the sympathy vote, even though I hope I did, is to tell you that for me, walking is very difficult. I have braces on my legs, and I walk with my wand, so I'm a tripod. I can't walk up a stair by myself. I can't walk up a curb by myself. I have help 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you hear my voice, positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, right? Because of that one word. Smile, see miracles in life every day. So one of the things that I urge people to do, and I mean not just urge, I plead, I beg, I cajole, I do whatever it is it takes, is people love to walk, right? Walking is a joy. Running, some people enjoy running. You like doing that? Great. The one that I really love and that makes all the difference in life, and I can't do it anymore at the moment, skip. And I don't care if you skip a half a block. 2 blocks is better. If you can skip for 2 blocks for 2 or 3 minutes, it changes everything. So that's step 1. Step 2 in skipping is to make sure that you have somebody next to you and hold their hand. 2 people skipping makes a difference in the world. Now, you really want to get big? You want to light a fire in the world and create a tsunami of goodness always? In your right, on your left, and try and make sure one of them is a kid, and skip 3 people. The energy that comes from this, that's generated, it powers the world. There is nothing in the world that can stop positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant energy. Am I correct? Nothing. There's no mountain, there's no building, there's nothing that can stop the power of that energy. Am I right, James? Isn't that what your music does? Your music is energy that's flowing into the world, right?
Contagious, absolutely contagious.
We're addicts. Remember at the beginning, so you weren't here, Pri, so I told people there are 3 fundamentals of life. One is to recognize that life has purpose. And you lead a purpose-driven life. Number 2 happens. In this case, good number 2. You go MAD. Now, MAD is an acronym that stands for make a difference. Parisa, you're a mad woman. You're making a difference.
I am indeed.
And the 3rd is to uncover the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms, like mad, smile, www. Right now, this show is carried around. We have people listening from Australia to South Africa, to Egypt, to Israel, in Colombia, to Pakistan, the United States, all over the world. It's all carried over the internet. What does www stand for? What a wonderful world, right? And what is a word, WHATA. And of course, tip of the hat and a big thank you to Louis Armstrong, Satchmo, for enabling the song to go viral and not just touch tens of millions or hundreds of millions, but billions of people around the planet. And whenever you hear the opening bars of what a wonderful world, what do you do right away? You can't help it. You smile. And remember, SMILE stands for seeing miracles in life every day. I guess I'm going to say, oh, Darlene, you're so wonderful. She said, I just tried skipping. It works. When I do webinars and seminars, I ask people, get up right now, skip. It's a whole different, I said it, at the moment, I can't do it because thank God I can move my arms. I can move my legs and such when I need to. I can be in the water. The water is such an amazing medium, right, Parisa?
Absolutely.
Because one of the reasons water was so good for me, because when I was beginning to try and get some movement back from being paralyzed, I fell down too often. When you fall, gravity works. I'm here to tell everybody gravity is true. It hurts. In the water, that's why we did aquatic therapy. You don't have you have no fear. James, you're going to love this. This is when you're in the water and you're doing walking exercises, holding on, such as that. Fear doesn't exist. There's no fear of falling. So when that doesn't occur, you can now be an open being, a giving being. I mean, I can visualize, because I'm a swimmer now, I can visualize Parisa doing her breaststroke in that remarkably coordinated, methodical way and just literally flowing through the water. It's beautiful, Parisa.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is beautiful. And you did it fast. I mean, you didn't do it just like Barry would do, I mean, zoom.
Yeah.
Did you do it 25 meters or 50 meters?
50, 100, and 200.
Ah!
All of them. Yeah.
200-meter breaststroke. That is
It's harsh. It's harsh.
Yeah, that's dedication.
Well, I'm gonna come up here because this is the part where I brag. I love bragging about this, Parisa, right? Like Parisa to this date holds over 20 active records in swimming that has not been beaten.
Wait a minute. I want to say it again. Parisa Rose holds over 20 active NCAA records that have yet to be broken.
Can I add a footnote to that?
Yes.
Most swimmers are usually very tall. For those who have met Parisa, she did that while being not tall. Let's just say that. I think that should be noted.
She did what? Say it again, James.
Most swimmers are tall.
Yes.
Parisa is not tall.
Well, Parisa's not 6'1".
She is not, but she is tall in presence. And I think, Parisa, you were talking about how being in the pool requires you to be present, focus in and hone in on what you're doing, look down. And Barry, you were saying it earlier, joy is the journey of you. Parisa, you take that diligence, that focus, and that being fully present into everything else that you do. And I think that's what is so magical about you, your being, your presence, and allows you to really fully elevate everything that you're a part of because you are so present. And breathing and what breathing can do, Barry was talking about earlier, a couple of techniques, but being present and how being present can shift everything for yourself and those around you. Barry, I was smiling earlier because you were talking about skipping. And what happens when you skip, I don't know what it is. I don't know the science behind it, but naturally you want to smile. It like elevates your being, but you said skip. And imagine skipping with 2 people and then 3 people, and you're bringing people along that journey with you. You're bringing them along that journey of joy. So Parisa, you are an amazing being and a phenomenal being. And I think you've taught a lot of people that are tuning into this broadcast here, along with James and Barry, but what the impacts are of smiling, but of being fully present and of breathing. And it can be so subtle and such a small shift, but it can shift so much for you. So even when we think about this holiday season, giving a gift of a smile, giving a gift of just sharing with someone, let's just take a moment to breathe together, to feel this moment together, to engage
Alicia,
in.
you are so beautiful. Okay, ready? All together, we'll do 3 breaths.
Like a baby.
Like a baby. Ready? In. Ready? Deep into the diaphragm. Woo!
Mm-hmm.
So some people like to use the word wow.
Mm-hmm.
WOW stands for words of wisdom. Alicia, you just gave us lots of words of wisdom. Thank you. I'm going to hold up a copy of one of my latest books. Can you see that?
Yes, we can.
It's so good.
You love that title?
Don't drop the F.
Right. You got that? And it's available for free, as we told everybody earlier. Just go to barryshore.com or barryshore.com/books, and you can get a free copy of the ebook. And SHIFT is a great acronym that stands for something happening inside, facilitating transformation.
Ooh. Facilitating, that's the part. Like literally, as Ava said, don't drop the F. As you said, don't drop the F.
Right. Got to be careful.
Facilitating.
Don't drop the F or the other stuff happens. Because
Mhm.
we're talking about, as we mentioned another time, and then I'd like to talk about learning to love dog poop. Because everybody says, huh? What is that all about? So the beauty of this special, this time together with people all over the world. Why are people tuning in? Because they're all good looking. Now, Parisa, we said in the very beginning, I say, what's the definition of a good looking person? A person who's always looking for and finding the good in life. That's the definition of a good looking person, right? Looking for and finding the good in life. So we talk about the ability to reach out, touch others without even physically touching. You're exuding your energy and nothing stops it. I mean, just because you're something on a place called Zoom, well, doesn't matter. It's going out there in the same way. Because when James touches a note or 3 or 4 or 5, it makes things happen, people hear it. So we said in the very beginning that this show is all about enabling people to be healthier, happier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? Happy, healthy, wealthy. By the way, that's something else that Ram Dass used to talk about all the time. And he stopped doing it because people confuse it too often. He said, forget it, I can't talk about it. People don't understand it. But that's it. Happier, healthier, and wealthier is the way people want to live. So I'm going to mention now about learn to love dog poop. Would you like to hear it?
I would love that.
Okay. Thank you.
Excellent.
Why not? First of all, why not? It's pretty intriguing, isn't it? Okay, because everybody in the world knows what dog poop is. And the first thought you have is, what? Come on, Barry. What do you mean learn to love dog poop? So acronyms are my business. This is my superpower. This is what I love. Three things in life. Life has purpose. Number 2, go mad. Go make a difference. And number 3 is unlock the power and the sequence of everyday words and terms. And the result is to be happier and healthier and wealthier. So we talked about smile, we talked about wow, www, dog poop. So dog poop is something that is so powerful because it's visual, it's olfactory, it's oral, and that people hear it, they walk by and they think about somebody else saying, okay, and right where you automatically cringe. So what we want to do is we want to shift perspective, right? Shift perspective. So from now forward, you're going to learn to love dog poop. And when you walk by dog poop from now on with a friend and you're laughing and saying, wow, I love it. I said, what's the matter? What are you talking about? So, well, I was with Barry, on the show, and Barry says dog poop is why? Because here's the acronym for dog poop. Doing of good. Power of one person. Wow. What does that mean? Well, doing of good, we understand, right? Well, we think we do. That's what we're talking about. Everything we've been discussing, everybody's been on the show for the past couple of hours, already in hour 3, wonderful Ava, is talking about and doing, not just talking about, actively pursuing and doing good in the world. That's why we're here. We're doers of good. We're dogs, baby, doers of good. Power of one person.
Talk about good-looking people, right? The Los Angeles Tribune. That's our principle, is looking for the good. One of the things that I love about what we do at the Los Angeles Tribune is celebrating people, whether it's recognition, whether it's awards. There's so many good out there, and that's what we love to point out. We now have 3 of the ladies that have 3 sets of red carpet is on the screen, and we spread each other around so that we could actually recognize more, and we could celebrate people more. And so good looking people for sure.
Thank you. So I think the should be Los Angeles Tribune, and the subline should be learn to love dog poop. We'll certainly get a lot of attention. So what does it mean? Dog, doing of good, poop, power of one person. Everybody has heard of Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa, Gandhi, Martin Luther King. Oh, well, those are major people, special people. Every single one of them is a human being created by the good Lord. There is nobody here on the screen or listening or friend of listening or a friend of listening who is any different than any one of those people. When you, as a unique human being, reach out, as we said, with skipping, reach out to your right and hold on to somebody's hand or influence them, reach out to the left, and those two people reach out to two, so you go to 2 to 4 to 8, 16, 32, 84. The increase, it's a tsunami of goodness always. Nothing in the world, we all agree, can stop the power of goodness. When you recognize that you are as influential, consequential, and important in this world as any person whose name is Gandhi, Martin Luther King, or Mother Teresa, or anybody, Taylor Swift, it doesn't matter, Elon Musk, it doesn't matter what your bank account is, who you are, what you do, then you can learn to love dog poop. So next time, James, when you're walking on the street and you see it, I want you to laugh out loud and say, Barry Shore, I love you. Not me, but
I'm going to go out and look for it now, Barry. I'm actually looking for it now. I just want to say thank you. I'm going to have to sign off. This has been incredible. Los Angeles Times, Ava, Alicia, Mo, Parisa, thank you for introducing me to these wonderful human beings. Rex, really nice to connect with you.
Okay, James, before you leave, here's what we like to do. We do a group hug before the person leaves.
I would love that. I would love that.
Let me tell you what HUG stands for.
Please.
Heartfelt, unlimited, giving. 1, 2, 3.
Coming to this ambassador of joy. Amazing. Thank you so much.
You're awesome, James.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Okay, we're going to continue because we're now in our third hour of the wonderful holiday special, all about living in joy, happiness, peace, and love during the holiday season. And we spoke before, wonderful Parisa, and I really I'm asking you, begging you that you'll be on my podcast because first of all, we share swimming and many other things, and we'll talk about, we'll help people. I want to mention the Salvation Army again. The Salvation Army is the tip of the spear, as it were, in this process of doing of good. And the power of one person, literally the power of one person to make a difference, to go mad. And that's who we are. I know Rex personally. He's a madman. He makes a difference in the world. And he loves doing that. He gets up in the morning, bright-eyed, bushy tail, and he has a big bushy tail. And to be able to know that he's there for this time, whatever the time is, to be able to do good. I mean, Parisa, when you're doing coaching, you're coaching with a consciousness, much like I'll bring in a person, John Wooden. You know who John Wooden is?
I absolutely do.
Thank you. I knew you would.
Yes.
So, yeah, John Wooden, from what I will say it, the coach of coaches.
Absolutely.
You know, if there's going to be a king of kings, there's a coach of coaches.
Absolutely.
And it's John Wooden, as he said many times and repeated in his books and his pyramids and all kinds of things, he was not coaching basketball players. He was there to turn boys into men. Now you work mostly, I presume you work more with women than boys, but the point is you're not training to be just great swimmers. You're training to be great human beings who happen to be able to swim very well, competitively.
Yeah. Right. It's about building character, about building the person versus the skill set. Yes, the skill set, but the character is the foundation that allows the skill set to thrive. And yeah, John Wooden he was prolific at that. Prolific. His work will live on forever. I learned so much from his work and from his books and from how he coached. And I take it into every day, truly, because it's about the character and the principles and the conviction that you walk with, you speak with, you develop your own skill set, your learning, your knowledge, all of it. So powerful.
Parisa, I'm deeply touched. Thank you. Lorna, I need to tell everybody what was just published there. Lorna Macbeth says, Rex has transformed my life. Notice, by the way, thank you for this, Lorna. She didn't say inspired, helped, made it better. She used the T word because that's what this is all about. Our show, our holiday special is all about the T word. Information, there's plenty of information on the web. You can get it all over the place. Some of it's good, some of it's less so, et cetera, et cetera. And there's lots of inspiration out there. You can turn on YouTube and find this one and that one. Yeah. And we know it's like Chinese food, in the old days, and hungry and a couple hours later. The T word, transformation, that's the Wooden approach, right? The John Wooden approach, like you say, character. Character takes formation, takes time, takes skill, takes shaping and molding and being what others might call tough, and what we know really is true love because you care. You can't care unless about somebody's character and not be of benefit to them. It's too important. So again, this holiday special is really about reaching out to people and doing it in the most joyful way. So on the second hour, I told people one of the things we want to work on was something called laughter, because people don't, in my humble opinion, people don't laugh enough. Now, I told the story that my auntie, when I was 11 years old, taught me to be able to make sure that I laughed at least once a day, at least, whether I wanted to or not. And if you were about to get into bed and you didn't laugh that day, and by the way, there are a lot of times people go through a whole day, they didn't laugh just because stuff. So you said, I want you to tickle yourself, Because if there's anything that's contagious and addictive, it's laughter, right? Laughter is the best medicine. It's absolutely, it heals the physical, mental, spiritual essence of who we are. Laughter has been known as, in the wisdom literature, for the beginning of humanity, because it's true. In other words, that which is true works. Laughter is like that. So I have an acronym that we built just for laughter. Would you like to hear it, Rex?
I do.
Thank you. Laughter stands for love awakens unlimited gratitude, helping transform every roadblock.
And that is true.
Right? Because people do see oftentimes the roadblock, the obstacle, the pit, the mountain, this, that, the problem. For whatever reason, and part of it has to do with home life and such like that, and poor schooling. Let's be blunt. The schooling system that we've all been through was potentially very good for teaching ones to read and write, potentially. And even that we learned later, right, Rex? We learned how to write on our own.
Pretty much so, absolutely.
However, school was not designed yet, at least most of the schools I've seen and people go to teach you about character refinement, skill sets, and interpersonal relationships. And the three most important interpersonal relationships are family, friends, meaning business associates, things like that, and oneself, like we talked about, self-talk, right? The relationship with oneself. So I'll give you an example. You've probably used it, and if you haven't, I urge you to consider it. Whenever I do either something in person or even online, I urge everybody, if we do certain exercises and such, to write down the name of their best friend. And that is after being with me for 20, 30 minutes or so and all kinds of stuff. And then go around the room. Let's just pick and say there were 18 people in the room. Go around the room. Somebody said name of their best friend. Oftentimes, one person will get it when they wrote down who's their best friend. Themselves. Very rarely, though. Because, first of all, we're not trained to think like that. And number two, we don't act like that. And unless you act like that and can learn to laugh and tickle yourself and recognize who you are, then you're, again, a poop. Power of one person and be a poop and laugh at it. Oh, now you have an opportunity to light the fires of other people.
Can I share something that I hope you find inspiring in terms of how change happens? They oftentimes say, when you first propose something, they laugh at you, or they resist you, or they do everything. In the early '80s, when Wagwan came to the United States, in the community that we lived, we did laughter meditation every morning, 5 a.m. for an hour in the desert with 100, 200, 300, 4,000 people. I mean, it was whoever showed up for laughter meditation. And I introduced that into my workshops in the 80s because Norman Cousins had profound healing through laughter. And there's just so much evidence about the breath and how it changes, and when you hyperventilate and how you oxygenate and how it's good for the brain. And another guy I worked with said, if you're gonna, one of his famous quotes was, if you're gonna look back on it and laugh, then why wait? Why not look back and laugh?
That is awesome. I love that. I've never heard
good. I want to use that. Thank you. We'll credit you.
But the point I make is, back in the early 80s, I would start all of my workshops with the namaste. And everybody's like, what does that mean? Nobody knew what it was. And I say, well, it's a prayerful greeting of I respect, the divine in you and you and me, that kind of thing. Well, now fast forward to, 2024. There's laughter meditation groups and laughter yoga and laughter all around this country, all around the world. There's people everywhere doing the prayer hands, the namastes, and things like that. What I'm getting at is that things catch on. In the early days, nobody in the 70s, in the 80s, as an NLPer, I would listen. Nobody used the word meta. Nobody used the word rapport. Nobody, there was just the void. You'd be on talk shows. They say, I have a friend, I have this, but they'd never say, I have a good rapport or a lack of rapport or something. Things seep into our consciousness sometimes slowly, and with us not being aware of it, but it gains critical mass. So the more that you share the ideas of laughter, joy, loving, kindness, compassion, it may not make that dent today, but 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 years from now, who knows how that trickle will become a flood. That tiny little trickle creates the Grand Canyon. So all of this is to say that we didn't start laughter. I mean, this has been around forever. It goes back to ancient times. And the amazing thing is, and this is just kind of an offshoot thought, there are pyramids in different parts of the world. The similar structures in Egypt and in South America and in different parts of the world. And people say, well, maybe it was aliens, maybe it was this, maybe it was that. I don't care, right? The point is that somehow all around the world, there are pyramids. Somewhere all around the world, there's these universal principles and laws like gravity, that laughter is transformative. Love is transformative. Joy is transformative. They're principles that have been with us from the earliest times to modern times, and mostly modern people confuse it and make it complicated and difficult and hard and make you jump through hoops in order to understand it. Just laugh, breathe, love, relax, and let go and have a beautiful life.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you share that, Joy. And you brought so many of the principles that we've been talking about, even in the last 30 minutes together with your share just now, Rex. We were talking about the word poop earlier, the power of one person, but the ripple effects. Like, you may not know how one phrase, one message of acknowledgement to someone, making them feel seen, understanding them, hearing their story, smiling with them, what that impact can be for what they may be going through. Or something like, the laughter meditation, Rex, that you were doing that and it had a ripple effect, right? And you just never know. And so we've been talking about, joy, and talking about being people that show up for good. But what does that mean? But the power of one person, the power of one action, it can have such a profound ripple effect that you may not even understand the impact of that ripple effect, but you're not meant to. It's just about walking and moving with that intentionality in those moments. So I love that we're talking about laughter and joy, but there's so much that we all can do to contribute to each other. And it can be one act that seems so simple, but the ripple effect can just ripple on, beyond what we could even imagine. So I love that you shared that.
Very well said. Thank you for making that even more beautiful and bright. And what you said, wonderful Rex, of the, I can picture being in the desert at 5 a.m. with other people and the laughter. It is truly the contagion that we all want. People actually, people say they want, and yet when you invite them sometimes, well, no, not for me. Well, once they're there, they're involved. And you're right.
And you made an excellent point, and it was part of the thing with the laughter meditation that we did, is you arbitrarily start it. In other words, you may not feel like laughing, but you go ho 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 ha 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 he he, and you're sitting there with other people doing the same thing, and after a while, it just starts to happen, and it is contagious.
Yes.
If you've ever gone to, just go to a comedy club sometime and notice it, or a movie. If people are spaced far out from each other, the effect is not nearly as profound as if they're gathered together and they're close. If they're close, they just laugh kind of with abandon. They're breathing together, they're sitting together, they're enjoying the thing, they're facing the same direction. Everything is aligned, and the proximity does make a difference. But that said, it's like they say, the person who laughs sits in the back seat of the balcony.
Oh my
It takes
gosh.
a while to get there.
Right.
Yeah. I want to add something really quick to this laughter conversation, because laughter was one of the core tools that I used every day. I still use every day. That really helped me heal and continue to condition my mind when I was in a very heavy, dark, devastating place. I'll call it that. Some people would call that PTSD, but that's what my descriptors are, what the experience really was. And what I've realized, what I've learned about laughter, is that it allows you to enter into the contrast, because we live a life full of duality, right? There's hot, cold, white, black in terms of the colors, rainbow spectrum. And sometimes when you're in that heavier place, regardless of how long you've been there, laughter and joy and enthusiasm can feel so far away and unattainable. And allowing yourself to laugh, but truly, when I say allowing, just find something funny on the internet. Find a silly 3-second video on Instagram if that's the case. It's super accessible, but allowing yourself to stay present with, allowing yourself to laugh at something that you find funny, whatever your brand of funny is, but allowing yourself to laugh and creating that time for just laughter in the day and experiencing things that are hilarious or odd or whatever, it allows you to enter into the contrast. And when you enter into the contrast, your body is reminded, just as Rex continued to talk about how healing laughter is, it is healing. It is so healing. And when you allow yourself to laugh and you enter into that, your body is reminded of that contrast. Your body is reminded, oh, hey, there's other experiences here. Oh, hey, I remember what that feels like. Oh, hey. And it feels more within reach without you having to work for it.
Okay.
Because healing and transforming your mind, transforming your life, yes, it requires great discipline, great diligence. Building character, great discipline, great diligence. And laughter, I feel like, is almost a way to, not a loophole, but it's like a little window there that we didn't realize is open, that you can enter into that contrast a lot faster, a lot easier, with less sweat equity. And like, hey, I'm deserving of this lightness. I'm deserving of this joy. I'm deserving of it. And it's accessible to me. I can experience it right here, right now.
So here's something I like to point out. I do this with my coaching clients and the trainees in my workshops and stuff. And it's really an important concept that a lot of people miss. And I appreciate that we can talk about this. And that is, have you ever looked at someone else and you both broke out laughing?
Yes.
Like maybe you were in school and you couldn't talk and they said, be quiet. You looked at somebody and you just can't stop it. And the more you look at each other, you see this in outtakes with actors. They go up on a line, they do something, they start to laugh, the other one laughs, and they break up, and then they go cut. Then they come back and they start it, they go cut, and then cut. Laughter is the beautiful part about laughter and the hyperventilating in the process is you're out of control.
Mhm.
You can't control laughter. It's a spontaneous thing. It is not something that you can plan to do. You can't say unless you arbitrarily start it, like the laughter meditation. The point being is that it overtakes the body, and you're at the most off balance ever. So if you're having a huge belly laugh and you're just doubled over laughter, somebody come up and with a finger or two and really pretty much push you over. And people go, well, that sounds scary, but that's the place you want to be. Because what it means is you've let go of control. Now, here's
The big V word, V.
But here's the important piece to this. People, what adults do is they grow up. Like, look at kids. They play, they laugh, they skip, they jump, they do all the things that we've been talking about, and they do it with abandon. You look at a baby, and the baby has a need, and the baby goes, right? And you go, cookie, and it goes, cookie. And it laughs and it giggles instantly, right? It can change from upset or screaming or angry or scared or whatever, a big scare, and you go, hey, look at this. And it's like, ooh, and it can laugh and it can giggle and it can let go. What adults do is hang on to things. They go, I've been depressed for 30 years. I've been a survivor of this for 20 years. I have this negative thing going on for 6 weeks now. They hang on to it. Transformation in the personal realm can be instantaneous. You can change your state from upset to joyful, angry. It sounds impossible, but if you watch a baby do it, it's absolutely doable.
By the way,
they'll say, well, I can't do that because they
Rex,
think.
I want to build on what you're saying. That's exactly the point of the holiday special.
Yeah.
This, what we call this shift, remember, keep that F in place. This shift is instantaneous.
Yep.
Which, by the way, scares people.
Yep.
Because like you said, you can push people over with a finger if they're laughing out loud. They're vulnerable. Oh, I'm vulnerable. Oh, no, don't have it. When the V happens, that's V for victory, as opposed to V for victim.
Yeah.
You choose. We talked earlier in the second hour about the 6 most important words you could ever internalize, utilize, and leverage in your life. And these are: choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. How you choose to respond in any given situation will determine your path in life and your trajectory. Parisa, you mentioned that you were actually in a difficult place for a while. You had to choose to find a way out.
Absolutely.
It wasn't going to happen unless you chose a way out. Am I right?
Absolutely. And it required curiosity. I'd say another, choosing and curiosity are, so it's like a 49-51 partnership there. Because if what you choose is not what your desired result is, you get to remain curious to choose more things until it works, until it starts to click, and until you see that momentum. Because we can't be set, hard set on one choice, because then we become limited. We experience those roadblocks, as you guys
remember laughter?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Roadblocks.
Exactly.
That's the beauty of laughter. Thank you. Yeah. Rex, I love that line that you said, if you can look back on something and laugh about it, why wait?
Good now. That was so good. I love that. I want to say thank you all. This has been such a wonderful conversation and discussion.
Oh, we're not over yet, though, right? We have time.
No, I'm wishing everyone a happy holiday season. Okay, yes.
Before you leave, Alicia, we're going to do our group hug.
Yes.
Okay. Remember, hug stands for heartfelt, unlimited giving. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
I love that. Happy holidays, everyone.
So we're going to continue. And I'd like to point out something about the word laughter. That's interesting because I love words. If you put an S, the letter S, how did you get those, Parisa?
Fun fact, Mo gave me, I have several of them, okay? Several of these cards. You
know where they come from, right?
Yeah, they're from you. Yeah. He gave them to you gave them to him, some of these cards, a lot of these cards, many years ago. And he had told me, he's like, he had some of these cards on him. He's like, you know what? This is something that you would absolutely love. So he hands me some of your cards. And this is years ago. I still have them. They're at my desk, accessible. I didn't even have to move. I was on camera. I grabbed them from the drawer right here underneath me. And here you go. When you said words, yes, your words matter. They absolutely matter. There you go. They make a difference. Let's go.
I'm deeply touched. Can you hold up the Dream Big, and then we'll say a fond farewell to Rex? Because the Dream Big card, I think, is quite amazing also, right? Dream big. Can you read what it says on the back?
Yes. Doing remarkable, exceptional, amazing manifestations. Believe in giving.
Thank you. The essence of what this holiday special is all about is big. Big. Believe in giving. Salvation Army is all about giving hope today. Hope stands for helping others progress every day. Rex, I am so deeply touched, honored, humbled that you made the time to be here today. So are you ready for your hug, kid?
I am, and I'm so thrilled that you invited me, and I appreciate you, and I love you and what you're doing. And Parisa, the work that's being done in the world, it's not work, it's play, but it's playfully affecting everyone at deep, deep levels. And I appreciate you and love you for all of that. Thank you both.
Well, back at you, kid. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, so good.
All right. Parisa, can you stay on for a couple of minutes?
I can.
Okay, thank you.
Beautiful, happy holidays to you, my friends, and to all watching. Thank you.
And a happy new year. Thank you. So, Parisa, I want to ask you, when did you begin swimming?
I was 10 years old.
10 years old, and in the Los Angeles area?
Yes. Yeah.
And did you take to it right away?
No. So I technically didn't know how to swim breaststroke or butterfly when I started the swim team.
You did butterfly?
I didn't know how to swim butterfly or breaststroke when I started the swim team. I only knew freestyle and backstroke. And I later learned all 4 strokes. But yeah, so I did not, I had to work at it. Definitely.
Okay. And I'm deeply interested. And I think this is very important for the holiday special. When did you, if you remember, when did you make the decision to say, not only am I going to become a swimmer, I'm going to become a champion swimmer?
I'd say a good, probably year into it.
At the age of 11 or 12?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You had already decided you're going to be a champion.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that what I learned about swimming is that it's like, as I mentioned earlier, it's really about being at peace with being in relationship with yourself.
Yes.
And I loved how much I could experience tapping into that threshold within myself. So just like when you're holding your breath and you get to the end of like what you feel like is your oxygen, and your body starts to pulsate a bit, and your body feels really tense and stiff, and you're like, oh, okay, I need to breathe now. Just that alone, and seeing how my body responded to just even holding my breath and what my body could do while I held my breath. And I'm talking about just like the simplest building blocks. Like I was so intrigued by being so present with the simplest building blocks of movement. Yes, there was movement in the water, but what I realized is that the movement in the water was only involving the conversation with myself. And that was a conversation that I hadn't learned anywhere else. It was not a conversation that I was taught to learn. It was nothing that anyone around me was, would teach me or even had conversations about. It was something that I got to experience while swimming. And I learned like, hey, it's actually kind of cool to wander around in my thoughts and my imagination. And my thoughts can go here, there, and everywhere. And this is kind of cool while my muscles are burning while I'm challenging myself. And it's all mental games. It's all, and I say games because that's what it is. It's how much power can I get, and how much is my, my physical velocity? How can this be displayed in this format, in this, the last 5 yards of a race? What does it look like?
By the way, isn't that where it all happens? The last 5 yards?
Oh, yes. At the first and the last. Absolutely.
Okay, very good. The first,
Yes.
so in the breaststroke also, you're coming from a board diving in?
Yes. So you have a starting block and you're diving in and you're facing forward the whole time with breaststroke. And breaststroke is the one stroke out of all 4 strokes that is, it's considered disjointed, where your upper body is doing its one thing and then your lower body is doing a completely different thing. So they are working in cadence with one another, but they are their own separate machines. It's considered the very intellectual
It's
very
like
intellectual stroke because
like
it's
making the right hand go one way,
yes,
the left,
yes,
which
and
I can't do.
coordinating yes, and the coordination of power within your body, the power of the upper body with the power of the lower body, and allowing the relationship between the upper half and the bottom half to really understand one another, and then allow that to be applied on each lap with whatever energy reserves you have left. It is quite it's definitely quite, I feel like, the most conscientious stroke out of the 4. And they always say that if you're a breaststroker, you're nothing else, but if you excel at the others, you're definitely not a breaststroker. So we're kind of like our own breed. But yeah, it's something that, and the breath for breaststroke is
Okay, I'm going to put you on pause for a moment.
yes,
I want to bring onto our stage another great athlete and a dear friend, and I'm so happy he's with us. He's he's not a swimmer; he's a football player, and he's also a game person who really understands the power of gaming and such like that. So I'm happy to introduce a remarkably kind being. Kind, remember, stands for keep inspiring noble deeds. Please welcome amazing, wonderful Amin Green. Amin, please say hello to 489,728 people around the world.
Oh, wow. Hey, how you doing?
Very
Happy holidays, everyone.
It's a pleasure to have you. Amin, I'm going to introduce you to Parisa. So Parisa, I'll say in a nutshell, and just because it's important to know, Parisa is not just an NCAA champion swimmer in the breaststroke. She holds, to this day, 20 plus unbroken records in NCAA swimming. Now,
Awesome. Much respect there, Parisa.
Good to meet you.
I can't swim, so
he can, but he chooses not to.
Right.
He played with a little-known football club called the Green Bay Packers, and he was one of the all-time great rushers. And what's really wonderful about Amin, why I really want him to be on the holiday special, is because he exudes life, love, goodness. And as you said so eloquently, Parisa, the combination of the mind and the body. Amin is a great exponent and believer in e-games, esports.
Esports, yeah.
Yeah, and he teaches it. And it's just so interesting because you might say, well, yeah, he's rough and tumble. He wants to teach that. And he recognizes that part of the benefit of sport is, as you pointed out, Parisa, it's the mind. It's the mental activity. So Amin, with that as an introduction, please say hello and tell us, what does this season, this time of renewed light, because today's the 22nd of December. Yesterday was the shortest day for the Northern Hemisphere, darkest day. And now there's just every day from now forward, just a little more light in the world. So you're bringing more light into the world. Tell us, Amin Green, what is this time, this season of light and joy and happiness and peace and love mean for you and your family?
It means that, we get to reconnect because we're home for the holidays or traveling for the holidays. And I'm visiting a family now that I'm really got close with in the last 5 years, and they brought me into their home, and so that right there. And then I'm going home tomorrow to my family. My granddaughter's going to be with us for the holidays, so you just get to reconnect or connect with family members, close friends during this time of the year, from Thanksgiving until the new year. Relax and get out of the hustle and bustle of life. I'm pretty sure Parisa, like myself, we are busy. We're talking, we're coaching, we're teaching, we're training, we're working out, doing the things that fill our well, but then also helping young people, people our age, uh, teach them things that we know about hard work, dedication, integrity, things like that. And with my class, too, teaching that intro to esports, teaching everything about teamwork there in the esports space to coach development, player development, but business development, too, and teaching kids how to be professional in a space that would say that when you first found out about esports, you didn't think it was professional, but it is. It has its parts that is very professional, and if you show up and you show professionalism, then you continue to grow the respect for esports because it's such a young industry, and it's not really young for the people that know about it, but for people that don't know about it, it is, because there's a lot of I say a lot of information that is new to everybody about esports, but a lot of the information is the same, just like our traditional sports, from swimming, from football. I play baseball as well, I play basketball, I power lifted. So, and for I know for Parisa, for your sport, that was the one sport I definitely had a lot of respect for, because the endurance you have to have to be a swimmer. I had a teammate in college. He was a big guy. He was a defensive lineman, but he was an all-state swimmer, and he probably weighed 255. And so to have him do that in high school at 255 and was an all-state swimmer in Nebraska, it was just like, wow. And I also knew why he never got tired, because I'm like, dude, why you just run forever? And he's like, yeah, I was an all-state. I'm like, oh, now it makes sense, because I know how hard it is to swim and build up your endurance and also muscle tone, and it helps do a lot of things. So I taught myself how to swim, so I'm very, like I say, a lot of respect for swimmers. That's one event I watch when it's that time of year for Olympics and swim competition. I watch it because it's like, man, I know the work it goes into becoming that top-notch swimmer in every, I say, mode that y'all have. From, like you were talking about the breaststroke when I chimed in, and freestyle, and all of them, they all take a certain kind of training to be good at all of them. And just like with esports, our games that we play, we compete in, every game is different. We have our different genres, where every game within that genre, like a first-person shooter or sports game or fighting game, they're all the same, but then they're different in every category of different things you might have to prepare for and make sure as a player competing to be the best. And so as a coach, I got to know those differences so I can show the players. If not 100%, they're going to show me, say, coach, hey, this is how we do it. And it's how we need it. And it's okay, because then they're teaching me, which I'm fine with. I understand that sometimes coaching, you're gonna learn from the students before.
Actually, Ahmed, I want to interrupt you for a moment.
So
I want to interrupt you because you're making a very good point. And part of what we were discussing with Marissa was about Parisa was about coaching. I just want to make mention, though, that you started off by saying that this is a time of reconnecting, and that is really a fundamental aspect of the joy and the benefit of this time of the year, is to reconnect, no matter who it is, in the family and friends. Now, obviously, you want to be with people that are in a similar wavelength and such, and still in all, there will always be people who are not. And to be able to go over that, overcome that, and make sure that the spirit of love is what is really in process, and not arguments and things like that. And I also want to correct myself, and thank you for the people who are listening, that yesterday was the shortest day of the year, not the darkest. Thank you. Shortest day of the year. Now we're going into longer days. I want to make mention that what Parisa does now, and was doing very strongly, is that she was involved in coaching. And I want to emphasize, both for each of you to chime in for just a couple of minutes each, about coaching. because that's really what this holiday special is all about. Who are we coaching? We're coaching ourselves. Let's be blunt, right? You know, when you, especially in a family situation where things are happening, the ability to make sure that you are coaching yourself not to fall into the trap of arguments. Or if there's an argument that looks like it's going to start, to make sure that you find a way to move that along to another place. Use that energy to be able to do something else. In other words, a good coach or a great coach is there, as you said, Parissa, because we were talking about John Wooden, of building character. I mean, that's really why we're here. We're here to build character for ourselves. Everybody's listening. It's all about you. It's not about Parissa, it's not about Ahmed, it's not about Barry, it's about you. Everybody is listening. We have people from all over the world. It's all about character. So I'd like Parissa, just a few minutes, if you'd be so kind, talk to us about what, for you, when you're in coaching mode and you're working with somebody who really looks promising and is having a particular roadblock. I don't know what it would be, but how do you work with them when they're facing something that they just, I mean, you know the drill. What happens?
Yeah. So I think coaching is really about, and great coaching really is displayed as, and exceptional coaching is experienced as, is really meeting people where they are at. So you cannot have this prescribed way of going into any interaction with any human being, any athlete, anyone you're coaching, anyone you're working with, anyone you're interacting with, that you cannot go into it from a place of that, I know what's best in this exact moment, and I'm going to say what needs to happen. Sometimes that's the case. But that's going to be more applied to a very tactical circumstance. That's going to be, okay, we're starting a new set. Let's go. You need to, it's on this time base. We're doing this many rounds. You need to keep this kind of tempo, being very practical, very logistical, very tactical with the things in place for a workout or a training session, whatever it is. But ultimately, none of that will actually help. None of that will land. The body will not receive what it can receive, the trueness, the power, and glean from what the body is actually doing, unless you connect with the human. And that is a coach meeting the person where they are at. This goes to like life coaching. This goes into counseling and therapy, to coaching athletes, to speaking with kids, to teaching in a classroom, to speaking right here online to you guys. It's about meeting people where they're at and allowing yourself to drop the ego. It's not about me. It's about where they are at. Where are they at? Read their posture. What is their body language saying? What are the nonverbals communicating? Meet the person first. Everything else will follow. That's what I learned. That's how I applied. That was my coaching philosophy. That's how ultimately I'd say my overall character in life and how people experience me now. That's how I choose to be in life, is where are they at? Let me drop in. Let me speak to where they're at. And not where I'm at, where they're at.
Okay, Amin, do you have some something you'd like to mention? Because again, you're working with people in what you call a new sport, which some people will even say, well, that's not a sport, that's just playing on the computer. Right. By the way, we had a comment from one interesting comment. So the person's name is Mo Rock. So Mo Rock is the person who put all this together. He's the driving force, the owner of the LA Tribune, which we owe the LA Tribune the thank you for being here, Mo, and allowing us to special. So he wrote this. Can you see that, Amin?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
I used to crush with him on Madden. Now, I got to tell you something. I read all those words, and it's all English. I have no idea what that means.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it must be something, but I don't know what it means.
Yeah, it's in the Madden video game, you can basically get virtual cards, or if you played it when I was playing, you can actually use the team I was on as a football player and control me and run for touchdowns, or do whatever I did in the actual football game. Like EA, their little slogan is, if it's in the game, it's in the game. So you can be me in the game. And so now, even though I'm not playing, they have Madden Ultimate Team, which is MUT, and you can do the same thing. So you get my virtual card, and put it into the roster, and then use me as a
Okay,
running back.
but you got a fan out there, kid.
Yes,
It's very
for
good.
sure.
Okay, so
For
what
sure.
is Amin? How does Amin approach coaching? Because you're working with what, kids that are 18 to 22, 23, 24?
Yes, yeah. So college age kids mostly, but I've done kindergarteners as well, which are the best, by the way. That is a class by itself in terms of trying to motivate talk kindergartners. So that you're talking about 4 or 5 year olds and up, which is you
Really,
could do
4
that.
and 5 years old, that they can play and manipulate and do things.
Oh yeah, they're hilarious. So, but that's the beauty of being a coach, because then, like Parissa said, you got to meet them where they are, and doing that is, I say, is a task in itself and a learned experience as a coach. Because if you don't humble yourself and you're like trying to talk to a whole bunch of 5-year-olds running around, and you want them to listen, but you got, wait a minute, they're kids. So you got to realize, like, they want to get up and moving around, and you like, you know what? If you're hearing me now, then do this. Then they'll start, you say, hey, do jumping jacks. And you're like, okay, they're paying attention, even though they're jumping, they're cartwheeling and everything. Because I remember at a football camp, and I had a 5-year-old in the camp, and I'm teaching them how to warm up their body before we do all the other drills in the practice. And this was back in Boston, probably like 6 years ago. And I was doing lunges to warm up the lower body. And I showed the other older kids, they did it, they knocked it out. And then my group of 5-year-olds came around, and I think it was Pete. His name was Pete. I'll never forget Pete. And he goes, Mr. Green, am I doing it right? And he's doing a cartwheel. And I'm like, you know what, Pete, you're moving. I'm happy you're doing that. There you go. At least you're doing something. Like, he didn't do the lunge, but I'm like, no, I got to tell him he's doing something. So, because that's all I wanted to do. Because I wanted to
really,
warm.
I want to unpack something here.
Yeah.
So first of all, he had good training. He called you Mr. Green. That's number one. Number two, and you were good enough to say this. Again, this is all about holiday special and talking to people and being with people, right?
Yes.
Am I doing it right? Well, what does right mean? In other words, am I doing it the way you want me to do it? And you were smart enough, I'm saying in a very wonderful way, as long as you're moving, Pete, that's the key. Now, we have a phrase, because remember, I was a quadriplegic. I was paralyzed, couldn't move for years. And I learned something many, many years ago, actually, when I was much younger, from a guy named Jack LaLanne. Remember? Oh, you don't know Jack LaLanne.
Yeah, I remember Jack. I've seen older commercials, yes.
Yeah,
okay. As athletes, you know.
Thank you. Yeah. But Jack LaLanne had this great phrase. He said, motion is lotion. As long as you're moving, something's happening with you. So you were good enough to tell Pete, hey, Pete, yeah, that's fine. You're moving. Because that's really the key. Here, everything, again, holiday special. I'm wrapping it in our language here. The holiday special is all about motion, emotion, and growth. What can we do during this holiday season to make sure that we're the best me? Because I'm the best me, and I'm meeting people where they are. Guess what's going to happen? A ripple effect of goodness. Like we said, I think I may have shared this with you, Amin, when we did our show together. Did I ever teach you about learn to love dog poop? No,
not that one. That's a new one.
Okay, suffice it to say, right. So dog poop is a great acronym that stands for doing of good, power of one person. When you recognize what you as one person can do, you can shift the whole world. That's the genius. The message of the holiday special is to be able to understand that your ability in this world is not limited. And when you give over, Parissa, to someone who needs coaching at that moment, in whatever format it is, or Amin to Pete, and whoever, that's what shifts the world. That's what's going to make the difference between war and peace, love and hate, and all the things that we want to have happen is the ability to reach out on your right to somebody and on your left, and then reach out to more and more and more, and keep that chain, that flow going to create what I call a toga. Everybody knows what a toga is, right? A Roman toga.
Yeah.
It stands for tsunami of goodness always. That's what we want to create, a tsunami of goodness always. When we have that mindset, I'll use the expression PMS. You'll forgive me, Parisa. PMS stands for physical, mental, spiritual well-being. PMS, physical, mental, spiritual well-being. You want to become what we call a spiritual chiropractor. So you're both athletes. I swim also. We all know what a chiropractor is. You go and you're out of sorts and they go, and now you're in flow again, right? So that's the physical. What we want to do is we want to do the same thing in our spiritual and our mental well-being. We want to have our thoughts in good, our speech good, our actions good. So when everything is in good, guess what happens? You can't have anything but good come out. Hello.
Right.
Isn't that what the holiday special is all about? Isn't that why we're here? And that's why there's literally hundreds of thousands of people all over the world leaning in and saying, gee, this is a good use of my time, because it's the most valuable asset we have, right? Time.
Yeah.
Thinking it's miraculous every day. That's what time stands for. Thinking it's miraculous every day. When we recognize that life is a miracle, and that everybody that we touch, everything that we do, every breath that we take, every mind, something that we have is miraculous. Well, guess what? You can't help but smile. You can't help but have an open heart. You can't help to be what I call a cog. A cog stands for channel of goodness, child of God. That's why we're here. So thank you. I'm so honored and humbled that you're making the time, both of you, to do this. I mean, talk about, tremendous athletes. I mean, I swim. What I do is I move water around. I swim. People love my story because, hey, he was a quadriplegic. He now swims 2 miles a day. Okay, that's a good story, right? I don't hold NCAA records. I couldn't even imagine carrying a football in a football game. Playing on Madden is one thing, but going up against guys who are, 200 and 250 and above. Did you ever play against the refrigerator? No, you didn't play against him.
No, I was watching him. I was a kid watching him play.
Okay, but I mean, just the thought of it.
Yes, I had to deal with guys his size. Yes.
Yeah, but people even your own size, be able to move with a sidestep in the split second, a fraction of a second, because you're in the zone, you're focused, as we've been talking about. The same focus we want to bring, that's what we bring to our lives now, right? You bring it in your coaching for swimmers, you bring in your coaching for the esports, and you're both emphasizing, as I do as well, that it's not just having fun, which is the essence of it. If you have fun, you can do a lot of things. It's hard work. It's what I call the 3Ds. 3Ds, life is a 3D process. What is it? First is decision, discipline, determination. You make a decision. I'm going to be successful. Didn't you make that decision? I'm going to be a success. You're not going to be mediocre.
100%. I did. Yep.
Right. And did you have discipline?
Yep. I sure did.
Interesting enough, people think discipline, think, oh my gosh, somebody whipping you. We have a different viewpoint. Discipline is a coach at your side urging you on with encouragement, right? That's true discipline. You don't want to get out of bed. You know something? You get out of bed. As Michael Phelps used to say, I had 1,000 days that I didn't want to get out of bed. And I got out of bed and I went to the pool. Right? And then determination, that's the greatest nation around. I usually ask, especially kids, I say, what nation does everybody want to live in? So some people say United States, I want to live here. And the two answers that I love the most are imagination and determination. Because if you're in sports, you need to use your imagination. Am I right? You have to visualize winning. If you don't visualize it, it ain't going to happen. Am I correct on that?
Absolutely. 100%.
Yes,
imagination and determination. That's the real id. We talk about ego and id. The real id is imagination, determination, and the ego is edging God out. You don't want that. You want God in. When God's in your life, guess what happens? You win. Am I right, Armin?
Yeah, you're right.
Am I right,
Yes, indeed.
Parisa?
Absolutely.
And
And
everybody,
I like to speak a bit into discipline, where this is not something that I learned or I reflected on while I was an athlete or even while as a coach, but this is afterwards or as a coach of college athletes. This is more later on. That discipline is really an act of self-respect, because you're showing.
wait a minute, I want to repeat that. Discipline is an act of self-respect.
And if you have self-respect, then you automatically are experiencing and you walk in self-love.
Yes.
Okay, you want to hear a great one?
Yes, indeed.
Amin. Amazing football player. Parisa. Records that have yet to be broken. Barry swims 2 miles a day, is a quadriplegic. We all want to fly, right? FLY stands for first love yourself.
Mm.
You can't fly if you're not going to love yourself.
Yep.
If you don't like Armin Green, you ain't going to play well. If you don't love Parisa Rose and respect her enough to get in that pool and give your best every time, you're not going to respect yourself.
Absolutely.
Because we're here to fly. We're here to make a difference. We're here to go mad. You know, you
Yes.
played Madden. Well, MAD is the MAD. Remember I told you, Amin? MAD stands for make a difference. Actually, we have one of the cards. You should have Go Mad as one of your cards, Parisa.
Do I?
I don't know, but I gave you some. Okay. And I sent you a joy package also, Amin, right? You remember the cards I sent you?
Yes.
So one of them says, Go Mad, make a
Yep.
difference. Go make a difference. Okay, this is wonderful. Oh, look, people are sending in, and just, I got to tell you, me personally, to you, Amin, to you, Parisa, how truly, truly honored I am and humbled that you're making time to be here together and what we're doing for people all around the world, because it makes a difference. It's truly, truly wonderful. I mean, we can see in your window that you got Christmas up there, Amin, and the spirit of the light in the world. Remember, I was incorrect. It's the shortest day was yesterday. Every day going forward from now forward is gaining another minute of sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
That's who we are. We are, as I said, you know, there's a famous Smokey the Bear, only you can prevent forest fires. Well, on this show, we've been talking about, I want you to go out and create a forest fire. Spread joy, happiness, peace, and love.
I don't have a great voice. I would chime in, but I'm not great. I'm a backup dancer. So
thank you, Amin. Amin, do you have something you want to say before you leave? You got a message you want to share with somebody, for people, for 30,
just,
80 seconds?
I do, real quick. But yeah, it's that
Please.
time of year. You, like I said, connect back with your family and close friends, and just think about your past year, your ups and downs, and something that you just talked about, Mr. Joy. There, make sure you take care of yourself first, before you help anybody else. Because if you can't take care of yourself, you can't help nobody. So that part is on feeling you're well, doing the things you love to do on a daily basis to make sure you stay balanced in life. Because when I'm imbalanced, that's when I know I'm not doing the things I love to do. Work out, spend time with my family, play video games. I like to take walks around my neighborhood just to kind of meditate, just to get through the day, doing those type of little things for me first before I attend to a friend or a family member that needs my support as well. So make sure you take care of yourself going into, think about yourself a lot more, and not egotistically, but from a healing and making sure you're balanced in your life, balanced standpoint, because then you can be able to focus more and better for yourself and for other people around you that you love and care about.
I would like to urge you to consider something wonderful, Amin. When you go out for your walk, let's say, I'll make it up and say you're walking, I don't know, half a mile. I'd like you at some walk and then skip for 3 blocks.
Oh, I could do that. Yeah.
Skipping. We talked about that previous hour. Skipping. Look at the smile on your face. Just thinking about the word skip, right?
Yep.
Skipping. because of my situation now, I can't do it anymore at the moment. God willing, maybe I'll be able to. Skipping creates a harmony in the body that running doesn't do it as well, and walking doesn't do it. Let's skip. And if you can hold on at some point to somebody, especially a kid, just think Pete's right next to you. Or your how old are your grandkids?
My granddaughter's 5.
Oh, when you go visit your granddaughter, I want you to promise me, Almond Green, that you're going to go outside. What's her name?
Melani.
Melani, come, let's go outside with Grandpa. We're going to skip. That's it.
Deal. Actually, I'm gonna see her tomorrow. She's coming in. We have her for the holidays. So
okay, you're gonna skip with Melani, and you're gonna send me a text, and you can say, Barry Shore, I love you.
Will do. Done.
Okay, so before you leave, Parisa, we're gonna give Almond his hug. Remember what hug stands for? Heartfelt, unlimited giving. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
So good.
Thank you, Parisa.
Thank you.
Ambassador of Joy, Barry Shore. Appreciate you a great deal. So
best wishes. I look
glad
forward
I was able to jump in.
Tomorrow. Thank you.
Right. Best wishes to you both.
Happy
holidays.
Same to you.
Yes.
Parisa?
Mm-hmm.
You have a couple more minutes?
I have a very few more minutes, and then I will have to.
Just a couple more.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
Okay. So would
All right,
you?
See y'all later.
Thank you much, Almond. Best wishes.
Yeah.
Look at that. From the Canary Islands, people are in here. Okay.
That's so cool.
Oh, look at this. Somebody I love here. Joy Grace Harmonies. I'm borrowing my favorite two nations are imagination and determination. That's right. Those are the two. So, Parisa, what would you like to share with everybody? Remember, share stands for spreading happiness and rejuvenating energy. What would you like to share with people as something they can really take with them as they go into this time of growth and light and love and peace and happiness?
I would love to share kind of two things. One is that what you do matters. And it's something that I will often bring up. And it's something that I will often remind myself of. And that is that your reps matter. Whatever you have the repetitions of, they matter. Whatever you are doing over and over and over again, it matters, because ultimately that is the act of practicing. Well, what does practicing have anything to do with right now? What you practice is what you become. So if you practice things that allow you to experience joy, if you practice acknowledging yourself, if you practice being kind to yourself and then allowing that kindness to pour over to others, that's what you become. So your reps matter. Yes, I learned that as an athlete 100%. And I've allowed that learning to pour over into every inch of my life, and allowing myself to say yes to the things that I want to practice, saying yes to the things that I want to allow to be those repetitions. And the second thing that I would say that I would really encourage others to do, and this is going to be for the group that has a hard time during the holidays. Maybe it's just this holiday season, or maybe this is maybe it's a repeat experience that the holidays are challenging for whatever reason that they are challenging. And that is that you get to make meaning of whatever day of the entire year. It doesn't diminish the meaning and the value that this season might bring for others, but you get to make the meaning of any given day for yourself, because you are deserving of that. So if this coming Wednesday, as you know, I refer to it as Wednesday and not the day that many across the world consider it, I say that with intentionality. If you are coming up to Wednesday and you're not really looking forward to Wednesday, allow Wednesday to be a Wednesday. Allow Wednesday to be a moment where you allow yourself to really sit with, like, what would bring me joy in this moment? What would bring me joy today? What would allow me to lean into laughter today? So you get to experience joy. You get to experience laughter on a Wednesday. Some might call it Christmas, but it's also a Wednesday. So allow the meaning to be what you want it to be and allow it to be different. Being different is not bad. Allow it to be what you need. When you allow yourself to be what you need on the simplest little building block level, it pours over to other people because number one that it does is it gives others permission to do the same thing too.
Parisa, you are a joy. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you
you.
so much. I'm sorry to say these words of that we're going to be parting right now, but God willing, we will follow up. You'll come on to my podcast, and we'll have more fun, and we'll share all kinds of wonderful things. I love that insight into your words or actions matter. There's a very famous misquote. The misquote is "Practice makes perfect." That's not the right quote. Perfect practice makes perfect.
Absolutely.
And, Parisa, you're so special. Thank you.
Oh.
Okay, well, on this holiday special, you're very special. So you ready for your hug?
Yes, I'm so ready. So ready.
Heartfelt, unlimited giving.
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, I felt it. I genuinely felt it. Oh, thank you for that.
Thank you much. Best
So
wishes.
good.
Thank
So
you.
good. Thank you so much. And Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year and happy wonderful Wednesday to those that are needing it to be a wonderful Wednesday. So see you all soon.
Thank you. Best wishes. Wow. I love it. Go skipping on Wednesday. Somebody just wrote.
I was going to say that and I forgot. So yes, that's the last thing I'm saying. Go skipping on Wednesday and skip until you laugh. Literally. Skip until you laugh. Yeah.
Love it. Thank you. Best
Bye.
wishes. Bye. Oh, okay. Well, everybody, again, I want to say humbled and honored that you're here for the holiday special. Thank you to Mo Rock and Ava and Alicia for making all this possible. Thank you to the Salvation Army for being with us. Remarkable organization. As I said, I can't imagine there's a person on the planet that doesn't know about the Salvation Army. It's, as I said a number of times, the largest non-governmental social service entity in the world, more than 6,000 centers around the United States. And last year, they helped more than 27 million people. They supplied food, shelter, rental assistance, food for people who are food challenged. I mean, just the words are hard to come out of my mouth. Food challenged. It's in a world of abundance. To be food challenged it's a difficult situation. So if you can, just look it up, or just maybe it'll be on the screen soon. SalvationArmyUSA.org. SalvationArmyUSA.org. It's more than worthwhile. It's life-saving. We've had a number of wonderful people share with us today. And I mean wonderful for everybody that's on this presentation, everybody that's listening. The joy that extends around the world because of the ability of the World Wide Web, www. What a wonderful world. And experiencing and feeling this. I'm going to explore just for the next few minutes, because we're going to leave and just our time is up. Imagine how 4 hours went by so quickly. I'm going to talk about a word that is oftentimes mispronounced and has a deep feeling for a lot of people, especially around the holidays. The word is spelled A-L-O-N-E. And it's often mispronounced to be pronounced as alone. Now, alone can oftentimes lead people to think about being lonely. Being alone is a not easy situation for a lot of people, especially when other people are surrounded by family, or you're going through a particular crisis and you feel, as it's mispronounced, alone. I'd like to share with everybody and ask to potentially think in a shift way. about the word ALONE and pronounce it the following: all one. All one. Because that's who we are. Well, you can say, Barry, it's easy for you to say you're rich and famous and handsome and all that's easy for you. Okay, that's all true. Rich, famous, handsome. Not. To have been paralyzed for a number of years was what other people call a lonely experience. Had no idea if I was going to move again, let alone move my body, able to, I have to push to get up from this chair and such. Can't just get up and such. Okay, I can move. I can get out of bed. I can open my eyes and get out of bed, put my feet on the ground. That took years and years and years. I can appreciate it because I didn't have it. It's a alone experience. And I was able to shift into this other place called all one. Takes time, takes practice. I wouldn't say it's easy, certainly doable. And when you get into that place where your lips can actually pronounce the word all one, rather than the way you were always taught, you will begin to experience a subtle and real shift in your biology. That's right. Your biology will shift. The more you say all one, your biology will shift. And when your biology shifts, your mindset will shift. And once the mindset is there, all one becomes the reality. Because it is all with the mind. We had great people on throughout the past few hours, as you notice, and two of them were just with us who were remarkably gifted athletes. But they weren't just gifted. They worked hard, diligently, with discipline, because nothing's going to happen. You're not going to become a leading rusher in the National Football League without it, or an NCAA champion who holds 20 unbroken records at the moment, 20 plus. Or a guy who was quadriplegic now swims 2 miles a day, 6 days a week. Takes time, takes discipline. The joy of discipline is all based on one word: giving. That's right, giving. How does giving have to do with all one? Because once you understand that it's your life and what you're giving of your life to the world, to others, in service, you now move and shift into another plane. And again, shift is very subtle. We're talking about a subtle shift in perspective. And you can internalize, utilize, and leverage those 6 most important words you'll ever learn. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. How you choose to respond in any given situation will determine the path in life and the trajectory. I'm going to close by urging everybody to consider using 4-letter words. I use a lot of 4-letter words. I even use the 4-letter FU word, and I do it because of shock value and it's fun. Now, of course, the 4-letter words that we use, because we live in the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, are love, life, hope, play, pray, free, gift, swim. Those are all 4-letter words. And you can find many more that you can use. 4-letter words. And the 4-letter FU word is fun. Fun, that's right. FU, capital N, capital N. But some people, so some people raise their hand and say, hey, Barry Shore, I love you. Fun is only spelled with 3 letters. Not in our world. The world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. Fun is spelled FU, capital N, capital N. So when we sign off in just a few minutes, what I'd love you to do after this, in the next few days that you can, point your finger at your family and friends and tell everybody, F you. But remember to add right away, capital N, capital N. Say, what are you talking? Where'd you get that? Well, I was listening to Barry Shore on the holiday special, and he wants to teach the world to F you. Capital N, capital N. And you bring back this flood of memories of different things that we talked about. Life has purpose. Lead a purpose-driven life. You go MAD. MAD is an acronym that stands for make a difference in the world. And the third fundamental is to unlock the power and the sequence of everyday words and terms, such as WWW. What a wonderful world. Smile, seeing miracles in life every day. Or as my 8-year-old niece says, seeing miracles in everyday life. Create, causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. That's right, that subtle shift. Remember to keep that F in place. Something happening inside, facilitating transformation. Internalizing those 6 most important words: choice, not chance, determines your destiny. And use the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day from now and the rest of your life, consciously and conscientiously. I guarantee, or your money back, I guarantee or your money back that you will be happier, healthier, and wealthier. And these 2 words are thank you, thank you, thank you. That's right. Thanks stands for to harmonize and nurture kindness. To harmonize and nurture kindness. Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Therefore, be kind always. Kind, keep inspiring noble deeds. That's who you are. Remember, the show's not about Barry Shore, not about all the wonderful people that were here and speaking. It's about you. You becoming the best you, because when you're the best you make the world a better place. You build more bridges of harmony. You create more joy, happiness, peace, and love in the world. Love, living on vibrant energy. A prayer from Barry and all the people here, and to each one of you, and for each one of you, a prayer to each of all of us. I urge you all, go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference. Best wishes. Enjoy.